The air smells of salt and diesel and the static charge of impending disaster. For the people on the beaches of Tel Aviv, it is just another Tuesday. The sun is a perfect molten coin dropping into the Mediterranean, painting the glass skyscrapers in shades of gold and rose. Young couples hold hands on the promenade. A man sells fresh squeezed pomegranate juice from a cart. The cafes are full. Life thrums with that unique, defiant normalcy that has become the city's greatest armor. They have learned to live with the tension, to compartmentalize the threat. The Iron Dome batteries, those silent sentinels positioned on rooftops and the outskirts of the city, are just part of the landscape now, a ghost in the machine, ready to flicker to life. But what they don't know, what they can't possibly feel as the sea breeze tousles their hair, is that the ghost is about to be silenced. 1,000 miles away in a reinforced command center buried deep within a mountain in western Iran, a different kind of sunset is being observed, not through a window, but on a bank of high-definition screens. The generals there are not watching the sun, they are watching the data streams, the satellite imagery, the culmination of years of quiet, obsessive work. They are watching a plan so audacious, so psychologically calibrated, that it doesn't just aim to bypass a defense system. It aims to shatter a national psyche. The confidence they project is not the bluster of a propaganda broadcast. It is the cold, quiet certainty of a chess player who has calculated every possible response 10 moves ahead. The orders have been given. The clock is no longer ticking. It is striking midnight. This is not a story about brute force. It is a story about the architecture of fear. For decades, the military doctrine surrounding Israel has been built on a foundation of three pillars: early warning, air superiority, and missile defense. The Iron Dome is the most visible, the most celebrated of these. It is a technological marvel, a system designed to calculate trajectories in milliseconds and launch its own interceptor to shred an incoming rocket with shrapnel. It has an effectiveness rate that is the envy of the world. It has turned the crude rockets of Gaza into little more than a psychological nuisance. But every wall has a foundation, and every foundation has a weakness. Iran believes it has found that weakness, and it is not in the radar software or the missile guidance systems. The weakness is in the human mind. The system is designed to handle numbers. It has a limited number of interceptors. The doctrine long discussed in strategic think tanks is a saturation attack. Fire so many missiles that the dome runs out of ammunition. It's a numbers game, but numbers are predictable. What is far more difficult to defend against is a lie so perfectly constructed that it looks exactly like the truth. The plan whispered in the most secure rooms in Tehran is not called saturation. It has a more poetic, more menacing name. It is called the Mirage. The first phase is already in motion, playing out not in the skies, but in the digital realm and in the minds of intelligence analysts from London to Washington. For months, Iranian intelligence has been feeding a carefully curated stream of misinformation. They have leaked documents through channels they know are monitored, detailing a massive buildup of short-range missiles in western Iran. They have held visible, televised military parades showcasing these very missiles. The entire world, including Israeli intelligence, has been conditioned to believe that the threat is quantitative. The debate in the war rooms has been about numbers. How many missiles does Iran have? How many can they launch in the first wave? The experts nod sagely, running their models, calculating the saturation point of the Iron Dome batteries if they are placed under maximum stress. They are preparing for a storm. They are not preparing for a ghost. The true stroke of genius, the element that fuels Iran's quiet confidence, is the weapon they are not showing. It is not the missiles on the parade ground. It is a separate, clandestine arsenal, hidden not in mountain silos, but in the hulls of unassuming cargo ships that have been traversing the Mediterranean for weeks. These ships, flying flags of convenience, crewed by sailors who believe they are carrying industrial machinery or agricultural equipment, are the delivery system for the punch no one sees coming. Inside their holds in custom-built, climate-controlled containers are not the slow, arcing Qassam-style rockets the dome is calibrated to swat away. These are cruise missiles, low-flying, terrain-hugging cruise missiles. The difference is not just in technology, it is in philosophy. A ballistic missile is like a boxer, telegraphing his punch with a high arc that every radar in the region can track. A cruise missile is a knife fighter. It slips in under the door, using the very curvature of the earth and the clutter of the coastline to hide its signature. The Iron Dome is a point defense system designed to protect a small area from short-range threats. It is not designed to scan the horizon at sea level, to pick out a small, fast-moving object flying 50 meters above the waves, weaving between the radar shadows of cargo ships and oil rigs. The confidence in Tehran is not arrogance. It is the cold logic of asymmetry. They have watched the videos from Ukraine. They have studied the efficacy of low, slow drones against sophisticated air defenses. They have learned that the most expensive system in the world can be fooled by the cheapest piece of plywood and a gasoline engine if it is deployed with cunning. The first wave, the one the world is expecting, will still come. It is essential to the plan. From launch sites deep inside Iran, a barrage of ballistic missiles, the ones the analysts have been counting, will ignite and climb into the upper atmosphere. The Ujing radar in the Negev will light up. The Arrow system, designed to intercept ballistic missiles in space, will track them. The world will hold its breath. The television screens will flash with alerts. This is the magician's misdirection. All eyes are on the sky, on the bright streaks of light, on the political leaders being rushed to bunkers. All the computational power of the Israeli defense network will be focused upwards, on the threat from the east. And in that moment of collective vertigo, the sea will give birth to its own demons. The cruise missiles launched from pre-designated coordinates just outside Israel's territorial waters will pop up from the deck of a seemingly innocent freighter. They will not climb high. They will drop even lower, skimming the wave tops. Their radar signature will be minuscule, lost in the clutter of the churning sea. They will head not for the open, obvious targets of military bases, but for the soft, vulnerable underbelly of the nation. The power plants along the coast, the desalination facilities that provide drinking water, the civilian infrastructure that keeps the lights on in Tel Aviv, and they will head for the cities themselves. The Iron Dome batteries focused on the rain of rockets from Gaza and the ballistic threat from Iran might get a warning. They might get 30 seconds. But a cruise missile popping over the beach at the Dolphinarium at 200 miles an hour is not a target. It is a death sentence delivered with surgical precision. The first explosion will not be a distant boom from the frontier. It will be a fireball on the boardwalk where seconds ago people were eating ice cream. This is the psychological trap. The goal is not to destroy Israel. Even in their most confident moments, Iranian strategists know that a single strike, however devastating, cannot annihilate a nation. The goal is to sever the covenant between the state and its people. The covenant that says, "We will protect you." For 75 years, that covenant has been the bedrock of Israeli society. It is why people build families in the shadow of the Kasbah. It is why the cafes are full. It is why the nation endures. They believe in the army. They believe in the technology. They believe in the dome. To see a missile, not from Gaza, not from Hezbollah in the north, but rising up from the sea, 100 meters from their apartment, to hear the whoosh of an interceptor that comes too late or doesn't come at all, is to witness the collapse of reality. It is to understand that the safe space is an illusion. The confidence Iran projects is the confidence of a man who has found the crack in the unbreakable vase. He knows that one tap in the right place will not shatter the vase, but it will render it forever useless, forever flawed in the eyes of its owner. Part 2. The second wave is not about fire, it is about silence. As the cruise missiles strike, as the emergency sirens wail a different, more panicked tone, the next phase of the mirage activates. It is a cyber-physical attack aimed at the nervous system of the nation, communication. In the chaos following the first impacts, the cellular networks will be jammed, not by brute force, but by sophisticated, targeted spoofing. False messages will flood the system, messages purporting to be from the home front command, telling people in one neighborhood to evacuate directly into the path of a secondary strike. Messages telling families that their loved ones in another city are safe, creating a desperate, futile rush of traffic that gridlocks the roads, trapping people in the open. The psychological warfare units in Iran have studied Israeli society with an anthropologist's intensity. They know it is a tribal society built on family and community. The fastest way to break a tribe is to sever the lines of communication, to fill the space between them with noise and lies. The physical destruction of the first wave is designed to create the wound. The digital assault of the second wave is designed to pour salt into it and prevent it from clotting. And what of Jerusalem? The ancient city of gold, the spiritual center of three faiths, is not a coastal target. It sits in the hills, harder to reach with a sea-skimming missile. But the plan for Jerusalem is not about destruction. It is about desecration. The confidence of the plan lies in its ability to choose its moments. As the world reels from the images of burning high-rises in Tel Aviv, as the international news networks loop the same footage of smoke and panic, a separate, smaller, but infinitely more symbolic event will unfold in Jerusalem. A drone, small and silent, launched not from a ship but from a pre-positioned agent within the West Bank, will navigate the valleys leading to the city. It will not carry a massive warhead. It will carry a shaped charge designed not for maximum blast radius but for maximum penetration. Its target is not a crowd. Its target is a stone, a specific, carefully mapped section of the Western Wall. The goal is not to level the plaza. It is to crack the foundation stone. It is to create a scar on the holiest site in Judaism. The image of the damaged wall, the ancient stones scarred by modern fire, will be the lasting image of the attack. It will be worth more than 1,000 destroyed buildings in Tel Aviv. It is a strike on the soul, a message that no place is sacred, no history is safe. The retaliation will be swift, it will be terrible, the world will hold its breath again, this time in fear of what comes next. But Iran's confidence is not shaken by the threat of retaliation. In fact, they have calculated for it. They understand that Israel's response, however powerful, will be seen through a new lens. The world, which moments ago sympathized with the victim, will now see a nuclear-armed power lashing out, potentially destabilizing the entire region. The carefully constructed narrative of David and Goliath will be inverted in the space of a news cycle. Iran will have successfully painted itself as the only power bold enough, clever enough to pierce the armor of the West's proxy. They will have ignited a religious fervor across the Shia crescent. They will have proven that their doctrine of resistance works. And in that proof, they will have shattered the deterrent power of the Iron Dome forever. This is the true meaning of their confidence. It is not the confidence of victory in a conventional war. It is the confidence of having rewritten the rules of engagement. They have looked at the billion-dollar system, the pride of Israeli innovation, and they have found its cheapest, most exploitable component, human perception. The Iron Dome is a machine. It calculates probabilities. It reacts to physics. But the people under the dome are not machines. They are creatures of habit, of faith, of emotion. They have built their lives on a promise of security that was, in the end, just a promise. To shatter that faith is to win a battle without having to win the war. As the first missiles from the sea close in on the coastline, as the unsuspecting city glitters below, the men in the mountain in Iran are not watching the screens showing the missiles. They are watching the screens showing the international news feeds. They are waiting for the first live image of the fire on the beach. They are waiting for the look on the face of the first reporter who realizes that the unthinkable has just become real. That look, that moment of collective shock, is the only confirmation they need. The plan did not require the destruction of the dome. It only required the destruction of the idea of the dome. And in that, they are already certain of their success. The clock has struck midnight and the sun has set not on a city, but on an era of invincibility. The air still smells of salt and diesel, but the scent is now laced with something new, something acrid and terrifying, the smell of burning certainty.